got a little tip for you about preparing your pellets when you're fishing the feeder, method feeder, pellet feeder and all like that. So what I do, I've got some micro pellets here, Thin Perfect feed pellets, 2 mils, and I've got pellet wetter. What I'm going to do, open the bag up. Probably not going to need a load today, probably about half a bag, something like that should be fine. I'm going to pour them in the mesh cage of the pellet wetter. Should be about right. Pop that there. Just going to zip up the little mesh cage, and now all you've got to do is just dunk it in the bowl that it comes with the pellet wetter. I've probably half filled it with water there, so just dunk it in. Make sure it's all fully submerged. Now I'm going to leave that for about 2 minutes. You know, everyone knows that you leave it per millimetre of the pellet, so if it's 2 mils micro pellets, leave it for 2 minutes. If it's 4 mils, I'll leave it for 4. But roughly speaking, that's the beauty of the pellet wetter. You can just dunk it in and out until you think it's right. So I'm going to leave them for 2 minutes now, come back to them, they should be perfect. Right, so once you've left them for 2 minutes, I'm going to pull the mesh cage out of the water. What I just like to do is give it a little squeeze, just get all the water out. And the good thing about it is, if you think that the pellets need a little bit longer to soak up a bit of water, you just open the cage up and grab a few out, feel them, and just looking for like a really spongy consistency. These feel just right. So what I'm going to do, unzip the cage, the mesh cage again, get the water, just chuck it back in the lake. Now your empty EVA bowl, I'm just going to get the pellets, pop them back into the bowl, and pop that at the side. And what I like to do now, because I don't like to have just the pellets on their own, because I don't think they stick to the feeder just as well. So what I like to do, I add a little bit of a sprinkle in a Super Crush expander or match method mix, Sonia bait stuff. So any sort of fish meal ground that's nice and sticky, that's going to bind all those pellets to your feeder. So just add, not too much though, just add a little sprinkling of it, about that. Then just give it a nice little mix round. What that does as well, it soaks up with the pellets, well, because the pellets have still got a little bit of water in them, and it just fills in all the air holes and makes sure that the pellets are going to stick to the feeder as you want them. So what I do now is I just go to my peg, set up my rod, set up my top kits or anything like that. I'd always prepare my pellets first, give them time to soak up the water, and then about 15 minutes before they start, check them again, they should be perfect. I'm just going to run through how to pump pellets. The way I like to do it, I like to use a super pellet pump. Makes it really quick and easy, and it makes perfect pellets every time. So I'll run through how to do it. Firstly, you take a small handful of 4mm super expanders. Like, you might be surprised that you might think that it's not a lot of pellets, but once they actually pump up, it's plenty for a match. So I'll pop the pellets into the pump. Then take the plunger, pop it into the pump, all the way down. Make sure that all the air's out of the pump. And then what you do, you lock the pump in place with the little clips. Then swivel it to the right, so you see there that little notch. You just locks into place, just a little click. Then you get a pint bait box, get some water in it, and then you pop the end of the pump into the water. And just keep pumping, keep pulling water all the way up to that. And now turn the pump upside down. What I like to do, I like to actually push the water out of the pump all the way to the max water line. There's a max water line there. Now what I like to do is get the top, put it on over the top of the pump and give it 1, 2, 3, and you see there, all sunk. So what I do then, pop the top back on the pump, unlock it, pull the plunger out and get the same tub of water and just drop them straight in. Everyone's a sinker. Loads of anglers get confused about how to actually load a method feeder. The quick release method mold's made it so simple, makes it quick and easy, and you get a perfectly moulded feeder every time. Let's run you through how to do it. Firstly, what I like to do, take your quick release method mould, pop them in your pellets, then I like to sprinkle a few micro pellets just so it's up to the blue line on the mould. Then what I do is I get my hook bait, pop it directly in the middle of them pellets there. And then you get some more pellets, add some more pellets to the top so it's brimming. So you see there's way more pellets than the actual mould fills. Then you get your method feeder, pop it in the mould, and using your thumbs, squeeze it. You can actually squeeze it as hard as you can. Using the mould again and the wings. And then you've got the quick release mould button at the back. And what I do, just using the wings with your fingers, just press the mould and it pops out every time, perfect. Ready to cast in. I see a lot of anglers struggling to play fish properly. It's really simple. I always like to, as soon as I hook my fish like I have now, I keep my pole nice and low and lay it across my knees and just ship back slowly. Make sure you keep a nice tight line and keeping your pole nice and low. And ship back slowly. Keep your pole nice and low like I am. If the fish, if fish bolts off anywhere, you can always ship back out and follow the fish anywhere. But once you've got the fish straight in front of you, I like to just ship back, keeping my pole nice and low, staying in control of the fish. Like you see there, the elastic's doing its work. I can just, my pole's nice and level on my pole rollers. Keep my poles nice and low, everything's balanced, I'm in control of everything. Take my pole down, and now get your top kit. What do you do now? Well, there's two things you can do. If the fish pops up right by your feet, you can net it quickly, but I like to use a roller puller if the elastic's further out than your net limit, and then just judge where the fish is in your peg. So I'm going to do another pull of elastic, just to make sure I've got a bit more control. Now pick up my landing net. I would like to use a long landing net. I've used a 4 metre one today. What that does, it gives me a lot of freedom to net the fish further out than what I would do if I had a shorter landing net. I'm just going to pull up now and wait for the fish to pop up. And like I say, I've got him there. Perfect. Well, that's a nice long landing net. That's the benefits that you can have. You can net the fish a lot further out. So like you say, everything that I did then, it were all really smooth, calm and collected, not rushed anything. And now just take your time. Get your fish in between your legs like that. Everything's nice and secure, you're not going to snap anything or anything like that. I don't know if you noticed as well when I lifted the net fish out of the water, everything's slow and calm. If you lift the fish up right by the further down the landing net, you run a risk of snapping your landing net. So don't do that, just take your time. Once you've got your fish, just unhook him. Nice go, see this one? Just unhook him like that. There we go. Oh, careful. Right, just keep it nice and simple. Keep your pole nice and low. Oh, and just judge where the fishes are in your peg. If the fish is bolting off, just follow it. Keep your pole nice and low. Take your time. It's not a race. Fish like that soon head up.